Alright guys, so today I want to talk to you about a new build guide for Serena. With Void Erosion Purge being cut from 30 stages down to 10, and having matchmaking on every stage, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of people getting to Void Erosion Purge 10 for the first time, and I wanted to update my Serena guide to account for the new component cores. So that's what we went ahead and did here. Now I'm not going to do this intro too long, so having said all that, let's hop into the guide. So let's go ahead and look at our Malevolent, and as you can see here, we actually have 2 chill cores on this, 1 firearm attack, and 2 fire rate. If you look down below, we do have more chill attack on this, more firearm attack, some bonus damage versus Legion of Darkness, and we did put a little bit of multi-hit chance on this. We're really going to build into this gun doing chill damage because it does really help us against the Legion of Darkness, and then we are adding that little bit of multi-hit chance, and that's really to help synergize with Serena's 4. Being able to hit multiple times with a single bullet does allow us to proc her 4 skill, which is what this whole build's going to revolve around. So that's why we went ahead and put it on the gun at this time. So as you can see here on the mods for this gun, we are going to go ahead and build into the weapon's base damage. Outside of that, we're going to crank the fire rate, we're going to add some more rounds to this magazine, and then we're going to build into the chill damage and some of that multi-hit to really help this weapon sing in Void 10. So for our dagger here, we're going to use this mainly for the boss at the end, but you're going to kind of see a very similar build pattern with this gun. We are going to go ahead and put 1 chill core on here, 2 firearm attack, 1 fire rate, and 1 rounds per mag, just to make sure this has enough bullets in it to really burn that boss out quickly. Now for the roll on this weapon, I do have firearm critical hit damage, firearm attack, multi-hit chance, and chill attack. The reason that chill attack is purple is because I spent about 5,000 Legos trying to re-roll it, and I never actually got anything better than that purple roll, so that's kind of why it's purple and not gold. So when it comes to the mods on the weapon, this is what we're going to be building into. We do build into the weapon's base damage. Outside of that, we add some fire rate, we add critical hit damage because this gun gets really high critical hit rate. Outside of that, we're putting chill damage on it, firing fiesta, and then we are going to try to stack this weapon's multi-hit chance as high as we can get it, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but it all has to do with how we're going to burn the bosses out at the end of the rounds. For Serena's reactor, we really don't need it to be a matching type here. It doesn't matter because we're not gaining any additional skill damage out of this because we're not actually using skills, even though we're relying on her 4. The way her 4 works, the additional damage doesn't really scale with skill damage the same way other skills do. So on her reactor, the main thing you're going to want to look at is duration up and cooldown down. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to try to keep 100% uptime on her 4. Now with this build, I do like the 2-piece ascending armory and the 2-piece shell crusher. It gives really high bonus to HP just by wearing these sets alone. Outside of that, we do get a little bit of cost reduction and we get some fire rate up, which just synergizes very well with this build. Now, when it comes to the cores on these, focus on trying to get gold HPs and then just put defense on for the blue core. One thing I will say is don't really worry too much about trying to get max HP. I know myself, I have burned through hundreds of cores just trying to get those, and I still haven't got them. And I know some other content creators who have burnt through upwards of 800 cores to try to get a max HP roll and still have not got it. So the rolls on these are very punishing. So just go for a gold HP roll and call it good. So for the Void Erosion Purge build, these are the inversions that I would pick. They are going to synergize very well with Serena. Focus on getting chill focus rounds, evolutionary cutting mechanism, and Arche circulation tactic. You're really going to want to have Arche circulation tactic because without that and the rest of the build, there's a really good chance you're not going to get 100% uptime on your 4, and you really need to have that in order to make this build sing in Void Erosion Purge. Now, if you've used our previous builds, this is actually where you're going to see one of the largest changes to this build. Prior to having the component cores, we really had to go heavy into the HP tree. But now, given the fact that we get so much HP in her component cores, we can actually avoid most of that part of the tree, and we can still try to get very close to the 39k cap that Serena has when it comes to the amount of HP that will maximize the damage by or with her 4. And that's what we're trying to do. So because of that, we can actually focus on getting a lot of firearm attack here. We can get a little bit of multi-hit chance, which is just going to help make this whole build more robust when it comes to taking out the boss. And we can pick up some critical hit damage and critical hit rate on this. This isn't going to help your Malevolent because your Malevolent is not built into critical hit damage, but it will help your last dagger, and it will make your burnout on the boss that much easier. So for the mutated cell, I did go ahead and put on defense neutralization on here. This isn't an absolute deal breaker if you don't have it, but it is something that I would put on because it will give you a little bit of bonus damage as you make your way through your Void 10 runs. So for this build, you're definitely going to want to use the Vesper Hunting Dog. It does give you back some ammo, and while it's not a lot, it is a little bit, and that is going to help you out. One of the biggest issues with any of these builds that use anything other than general rounds is there is a chance that you can run out of ammo. Now, there are ways to bypass that with Serena, but this is just one additional way to help you get ammo when you're making your way through your runs. Now, speaking of ammo, before I go into her build, I do want to point out something with her one. So as you can see here in the Repentance box, there is a chance that you can recover some rounds when you attack with a firearm if an enemy is inflicted with Repentance. So again, just keep that in mind if you start to find that you are low on ammo. Alright guys, so this build again is not made for flying, so just keep that in mind. You will want to try to keep your feet on the ground so you do not run out of MP. And if you've used our builds in the past, you've noticed that there's only really one mod that changed on here, and that is maximize range. We're really wanting to try to kick the range out on her 4 as much as possible, just to ensure we're hitting as many enemies as possible and knocking out and killing as many things as we can as fast as possible. Outside of that, the main thing we're doing here is trying to increase duration, reduce cooldown, and give her as much HP as possible, and that is the build that we've settled on here. So now I'm going to talk about how to use this build, and we're going to run through it pretty quick. There's not a whole lot you need to know. This is a very, very friendly build to use. Our whole goal here is to try to keep uptime on our 4. But the thing you need to remember is you need to cast your 4 in the air in order to get the buff that we're trying for. As you can see here, you need to be in mid-air to get Redemption's Judgment. And Redemption's Judgment gives us additional damage, and that damage is firearm damage times our damage multiplier. And our damage multiplier is our max HP times 0.8. So this is really what's going to be putting in work on this build. So at the beginning of the map, right before you run out, you're going to want to jump up in the air and you're going to want to hit your 4. And then you're going to want to try to ensure that your 4 is up 100% of the time. So just make sure every time you go to recast it, you do jump in the air. That way you're getting Redemption's Judgment. Outside of that, when you are running around these maps, you do want to try to prioritize the champs and try to avoid shooting the lower level monsters if possible. Malevolent will fan out, and between Malevolent and your 4, you will evaporate most low level enemies. So that's not to say that you shouldn't shoot them, but you should always prioritize the champs over the lower health enemies. Another thing to keep in mind here is to aim for the champs' heads whenever possible. It's just going to increase your damage. And the last thing to note is try not to hand reload. If you need to reload, just jump in the air and dash in the direction that you're wanting to traverse. Your dash will automatically reload your weapon. And that is honestly the bulk of what you need to know when it comes to how to actually use this build. You're just going to run around the map, you're going to aim for the champs' heads, and then you're just going to jump in the air and dash to reload, and jump in the air when you need to refresh your 4 buff. If you start to find that you're low on ammo, go ahead and shoot a 1 out, and then after you hit the enemies with the 1, go ahead and start unloading on them with your gun. One other thing to keep in mind, some maps are more open than others, and there is a chance that in an open map, you will not actively path through the enemies that you've killed. You need to try to run through the enemies that you've killed in order to keep your ammo up. I know that we said that you can get it back with your 1 and with your dog, but going through that group of enemies is just going to ensure that you don't run out of ammo. If you have 0 ammo, you are doing 0 DPS. So the last thing to note is the boss. The boss is the only thing that is going to change up your gameplay loop. So when it comes to the final boss, you are going to want to try to be in the air when you're using your last dagger. And the main reason for this is the bonus you get from Ascension. Now, as you can see here, Ascension will give your general rounds weapons, an additional multi-hit chance increase of 50%. And this is additive, not multiplicative. So this is a huge number. If you're using the same build I'm using, you are almost going to have a 100% multi-hit chance. What does that mean? That means every one of your last dagger bullets should proc your number 4's additional damage 2 times. That is insane when it comes to the amount of damage you are going to be able to put out in a very short window of time. And this is going to allow you to absolutely decimate the final bosses in your run. Now, you don't have to do a lot of flying for this. If you watch the B reel here, I just turn on my wings and dash straight up into the air. That gets me the height that I need to start shooting the boss, and typically the boss phases out very fast and you don't have to do a lot of flying. Once the boss goes into the next phase, I typically just turn off my wings, fall to the ground, use whatever guns I need to, Malevolent or Last Dagger, to clear the ads, and then we do the exact same thing again. Alright guys, and that's it. That's everything you need to know about our Serena Void Erosion 10 build. With the amount of new people that will be getting into Void 10 because of the barrier to entry being removed, we really did want to update a guide. Typically, I don't update the same characters' guides every month, but with the changes to Void Erosion and with the changes to the component cores, I did feel like it was a good time to go ahead and just toss another guide out there for you guys. That way you're using the most up-to-date guide that I have, and it helps you clear this content easier, and it helps new players really get in there and start farming the cores for the upcoming weapon balance and to start farming cores for Season 3. So if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing for more First Descendant content, as well as other game coverage in the future. And if you want to get to know me and the community better, you can consider coming over and checking us out live on Twitch, or you can watch our live streams here on YouTube. We have a great community of welcoming people, and they always love to help out new people and just have great people to talk to, and we would love to invite you into the community. But having said all that, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.